I see a lot of these motivational speakers telling you what you need to do and how you have to go out there and grab life and don't be afraid and go to the mountain. And when you get to that mountain, build another mountain, blah, blah, blah. You got all the answers. You're born with common sense. You may not believe it, but you have the answers. You know them. Just like all of a sudden, what? They gave them wisdom and not you? Come on. We all have it. We're programmed to survive. Not just exist, to survive, prosper, go forward. So what I'm saying to you is this. A lot of these guys have good ideas. They're very motivational. But motivate yourself because you have the instinct, you have the knowledge. The lesson lies in learning, and by teaching you'll be taught. It's all there anyway. Just needs to be sought out. Take those thoughts that are embedded in your brain that you already know the difference between right and wrong and how to succeed. How do you succeed? Perseverance. Just keep trying. Keep trying. It's not that hard, not that complicated. It takes courage. It takes courage to get up every morning and bravery and pushing yourself when you don't want to go to work, to supply food for yourself and your family. It takes courage to stick your head above the crowd and voice your own opinion. Quite often, you just have to stand up and grab life by the throat and not let go until you succeed. Courage. You all have it. It's just pushing the right button. The most valuable thing you might have in your life you really don't pay attention to, especially when you're young, because you just feel you have an abundance of it. It's never ending. Time. And as you get older, you realize time becomes your currency. You really have to be very, very, very stingy with your time. Don't waste it on people that aren't like-minded. Don't waste it doing things that you know are not part of your dream plan. Don't waste time being bitter. In the end, it's just waste your most valuable asset, time. To build up the proper mentality that I have, the proper mindset, is I tend to withdraw. I stay alone, completely alone, for days sometimes, entire weekend. I don't go out, literally out. Being alone isn't the worst thing in the world. I find it to be a real chance to do self-evaluation, look into your soul a little bit, build up also your confidence. A lot of people are afraid to be alone. I understand. Loneliness is a bitch. But it also makes you fortified against what's coming. In other words, you get to know your best friend, which should be you. Everyone's a friggin' underdog. Even the guys that are billionaires. They started out as underdogs. No one gave it to them. Someone in the family, perhaps, had to earn it and pass it on. But that first one, the guy that went into the unknown, unprepared, but prepared mentally, but perhaps unprepared for what was going to come at him from so many different directions. And when I say that come at him, I mean those obstacles that wanted to defeat him, including his own fear. And they were overcome. Life is almost like living on water, which is a very, very strong force. And all water has a current. And that current will take you out to the ocean, or eventually you just get swallowed up by the sheer magnitude of everything. Once you're out there, you can't swim back. It just takes you where it wants to go, not where you want to go. And swimming against the current is really a metaphor for life. It's a struggle. Quite often it's just easy to go with the current, but to be an individual, to feel as though you did your best in the game of life, you got to swim against the current. Boy, it's fatiguing, but when you get to the other side, you can climb out of that water, and you're at the place you want to be, that unexplored area. That's the journey of life, and it's invigorating as well as challenging. Life is one big juggling act. It's like, how do you keep all these objects going around, and then when you drop a few, you got to pick it up again, but it's juggling. You juggle happiness with grief. Grief, for example. That's a rough one, because grief never goes away. It sort of rises into the clouds, you might say. It sort of seems as though it's diminishing, and it does, until something brings it back, and therein is the cycle. That's why quite often I find therapists for certain individuals, a fruitless exercise, because quite often these problems can't be extracted. Bad memories can't be pulled out and diminished. They're there. You just have to balance it. Say, okay, am I going to be caught in this time warp called the past? Because quite often, let's face it, your problems are from the past. If you didn't get the attention you wanted in the first 5 years, being nurtured, you're going to have a problem for the rest of your life with nurturing and feeling secure. For example, I feel, and it's been proven, that nurturing and compassion and love and protection at a very early age, meaning when you're an infant, is more of a priority than food. And when you don't get that when you're young, you crave it your whole life. And quite often, it's also an incentive to do something with your life, to fill it up with some sense of accomplishment, or it's a release for anger, whatever it is. Quite often I have found that the most damaged people have been the most productive. I know it's a horrible thing to say, but people that are missing chunks in their heart, gaps in their soul, because they weren't given the love and attention when they were very young, that can't be compensated for. Those are holes. Those doors are shut. So it's up to you to lay the groundwork for your future, to not do what other people did to you. So it's juggling. So here's to you all, keeping all these objects in the air and knowing that it's never perfect. I've come across some of the most miserable people that have everything except what is truly important, and that is peace of mind and going forward without fear. Fearlessness. It's not easy. Sometimes you have to lie to yourself. Oh, I'm not afraid. You're terrified. But sometimes lying is good. If that helps get you up those first 3 steps into the ring of life to face an indestructible opponent, so be it. Lie to yourself. Sometimes lying gets the ball going. Anyway, keep juggling. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.